Ever wondered how a single invention could completely change the face of warfare? Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of the world's first tank. It's a tale of mud, trenches, and a desperate need for a new kind of weapon. Our story begins in the trenches of World War I. Imagine a desolate landscape, a no-man's land scarred by craters and tangled in barbed wire. For years, the war had been a brutal stalemate. Soldiers on both sides were stuck in a horrific cycle of trench warfare. Attacking meant going over the top, charging into a hail of machine gun fire. The casualties were staggering, and progress was measured in inches, not miles. The British military leadership was desperate for a solution. They needed a way to cross this deadly terrain, crush the barbed wire, and protect soldiers from the relentless machine gun nests. The idea of an armored, all-terrain vehicle had been floating around for years. Thinkers like H.G. Wells even imagined laying ironclads in his science fiction stories. But turning fiction into reality was the real challenge. Enter a group of brilliant and somewhat unconventional thinkers. At the heart of this innovation was a committee originally called the Landships Committee. This group, formed in 1915, included engineers, naval officers, and even politicians. One of the key figures was Colonel Ernest Swinton. He had seen the carnage on the Western Front firsthand and was a passionate advocate for an armored fighting vehicle. He imagined a machine that could crawl over trenches and withstand enemy fire. Inspired by American Holt tractors he'd seen used for farming. Another major player was Winston Churchill, who at the time was the First Lord of the Admiralty. You might be thinking, what does the Navy have to do with land warfare? Well, Churchill had a reputation for embracing radical ideas. He saw the potential in Swinton's vision and used his influence and the Admiralty's budget to push the project forward, even when the Army was skeptical. It's thanks to his backing that the Landship project didn't die an early death. The design and construction were led by two engineering geniuses, William Trenton and Major Walter Wilson. They were tasked with turning the concept into a working prototype. Their first attempt, known as the No. 1 Lincoln machine, or Little Willie, showed promise but had issues. It couldn't cross wide trenches effectively. But they didn't give up. They went back to the drawing board and came up with a revolutionary new design. This is where the iconic rhomboid, or diamond, shape comes from. This unique shape allowed the vehicle to climb over obstacles and cross wide trenches. The tracks ran all the way around the hull, giving it incredible climbing ability. This new prototype was codenamed Mother. Now, let's talk about the name tank. The project was top secret. To disguise what they were building, the workers were told they were constructing mobile water carriers, or water tanks, for use in Mesopotamia. The name stuck. The metal plates were even marked with labels in Russian saying with care to Petrograd to further mislead any spies. So, Mother was born. It was a beast of a machine. Weighing around 28 tons, it crawled at a snail's pace, roughly the speed of a walking person. It was cramped, incredibly hot, and filled with engine fumes. The crew of 8 had a rough time inside. Steering was a nightmare, requiring several crew members to operate gears and brakes. It wasn't a comfortable ride, but it was tough. Its armor could stop machine gun bullets and shrapnel, which was exactly what it was designed to do. The tank was armed with naval guns, specifically 6-pounder cannons, mounted on the sides and sponsons. There were 2 versions, a male version with 2 cannons, and several machine guns, and a female version armed only with machine guns. Designed to take on enemy infantry, after a successful demonstration for the military top brass in early 1916, the tank, now officially designated the Mark I, was rushed into production. The generals were finally convinced. They ordered 150 of them. The big debut came on September 15, 1916, during the Battle of the Somme, at a place called Flers-Courcelette. The British had planned to use 49 tanks in this first ever tank assault. However, the reality of early technology set in. On the day of the attack, many broke down or got stuck in the mud before even reaching the battlefield. Only about 30 made it to the starting line, and even fewer actually went into action. But for those that did, the effect was electrifying. German soldiers, who had never seen anything like it, were terrified. These steel monsters crawled out of the morning mist, shrugging off machine gun fire, crushing barbed wire, and blasting enemy positions. One report described a tank advancing on a German trench, its guns blazing, causing the defenders to simply drop their weapons and run. Another tank, called D-17, even drove right down a German-occupied high street in the village of Flers. Strategically, the first use of tanks was a mixed bag. Their impact wasn't decisive enough to break the stalemate completely, but psychologically, It was a massive victory. It proved that the concept worked. It showed a path out of the bloody deadlock of trench warfare. From that day forward, tank design and tactics evolved rapidly. The British developed improved models like the Mark IV and Mark V. Other countries, like France with their light Renault FT tank and Germany with their colossal A7V, quickly started developing their own armored vehicles. The Renault FT was particularly influential, as it was the first tank with a fully rotating turret, a design feature that is standard on virtually every tank today. By the end of the war in 1918, tanks were being used in mass formations. At the Battle of Cambrai in 1917, a force of over 400 British tanks achieved a stunning breakthrough, proving their potential when used correctly. The era of the landship had truly begun. So, from a desperate need to break a stalemate, fueled by a few visionary minds and a secret code name, the tank was born. It was a crude, unreliable, and punishing machine in its early days, but it fundamentally changed land combat forever. It gave birth to a new kind of warfare, mechanized warfare, and its descendants continue to be a dominant force on battlefields to this day. The story of the first tank is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most groundbreaking innovations come from the most desperate of times. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into military history fascinating, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the world's greatest inventions. See you in the next one.